I'm upset at the stupidity that I see going on right now. The fear-mongering that I see going on right now. We're not piecing things together, folks. I'm upset at other preachers and teachers who shouldn't be saying one word. They're milking things. Fear-mongering, the hype that they're putting into their messages is driving me nuts. I'll give you an example. John Paul Jackson, in fact, you get a load of this. On the Jim Bakker show, and Jim, I know you ain't watching, but some of your people do. Let Jim hear this, please. Or he's going to lose his integrity completely. His co-host mentioned that John Paul Jackson said there would be a pandemic. Listen, you folks can learn something from this. There would be a pandemic. When was the last time we saw a pandemic? You can go back 100 years before we found a pandemic. The last scare, but it wasn't a pandemic, was SARS, before this coronavirus. John Paul Jackson, again, which Jim Bakker's co-host mentioned, John Paul Jackson, if you believe the man to be a prophet, I'm telling you to believe the man, said that there would be...
The Lord told me that there would be a pandemic that came, but the first one would prove to be little but fear, but the second one that comes would be serious. So there's a pandemic that is going to be coming.
A pandemic, but it would turn out to be all about nothing. Be just a simple scare. Everybody's all worried about a pandemic that's not really a pandemic. Jim Bakker's aired it, that one show. But since then, talk about milking something when you know better. You don't take what a prophet, if you believe the man to be a prophet, you don't take certain things they say and cherry pick when the message is convenient, when it fits the narrative. If it makes more sales, you need to shut up and stop it. He's either a prophet forever or he's not. You don't nitpick through the messages. First pandemic would be a scare. And we got all over the news right now. Pandemic. I haven't seen pandemic. Pandemic. But the next one would be what you need to be worried about. The next one, the one after the scare, is the one you need to be worried about. That's what John Paul said. That's what Jim Bakker's show aired. And they haven't said that since. In fact, what Jim Bakker's been airing and other people have been airing, it's driving me nuts, is the fourth horseman supposedly he's riding. And according to the show, you need to just be careful, folks, what you preach. Supposedly the fourth horseman is going to take out a quarter of the earth. Supposedly it's pestilence. Look carefully at the verse. The fourth horseman is a combination of the previous horses. It's an amplification of sword, of famine, and an addition to pestilence. That gets introduced in death. You hear me? It's a quarter of the earth isn't destroyed by pestilence. It's an amplification of sword and famine, and then pestilence gets introduced in the fourth. And yet we're acting like pestilence, we're being told and preached that the pestilence is going to take out a quarter of the earth. No, nor is this it, especially if you understand, if you believe John Paul to be a prophet, the first one's a scare. That's not the one to be worried about. And if you understand, since John Paul said it, there has been no pandemics until now. Hey, if the guy had it right, this is the scare. It's not it. It's the one that follows. On the second show of the prophet that I'm going to be interviewing, that I have already interviewed, we go over that part. We go over and we point out, in fact, get a load of this, that prophet too saw a pandemic, a virus, that he and I discuss a little bit of in the second show. And we come to the conclusion, in fact, he automatically knows Corona doesn't have the ability to be what he saw. It doesn't have the makings or the capability to be what he saw as a virus that is there when his thing opens up. Figure that one out, folks. When his encounter opens up, at the beginning of it, he sees a virus that is bad. And some of you preachers need to shut up. Stop playing on people's fears. Stop milking something because it increases your sales. This isn't it. Pestilence doesn't take out a quarter of the earth. Get it right, at least if you're going to try to preach it. You think we've seen war? You think we've seen famine? Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. You're going to know when you see it. Nah, I'm sorry. I've just been worked up and upset at people who just need to shut up. Soon, and I can't wait, soon. Another prophet who I do know said the same thing. I thought, wow, that's cool. I'm glad I'm hearing the same thing. Very soon, God is going to get his body in order. You people who are preaching, teaching that shouldn't never say anything. You prophets. There's more. You know that's funny? There are more prophets. I tried to explain before. The Lord, he's the Lord of hosts. He's the God of hosts. He's the God of armies. Do you understand that? I've tried to explain this before, but get this. It's all flipped upside down. The higher up the chain you go, the fewer there become. It's like in our own military. I better not lose them. Okay. In our own military, we got the commander in chief, and then we got the generals, just a little handful of generals. Then you got colonels, there's more colonels. Then you got whatever's next, and so forth as it goes on down. The farther on down the rank, or the lower the rank, the more there are. But not in God's army. Oh, no. We got teachers out there. Then you got pastors. Think about how many pastors there are. And then you got even fewer evangelists, which is the way it's going to be, fewer evangelists. Because, and in fact, I'll give you kind of a ratio. You should look about every 10 churches, you'd probably find an evangelist. It's not every 4 churches you got one. It's more like about 10. So a 10 to 1 ratio kind of thing. And then all of a sudden you got this prophets. There are more prophets than there are evangelists and pastors. And then you got this little handful of apostles. Apostles are a person who starts churches. Doesn't start one church. No, that's what they do. They start communities and churches. That's an apostle, but also operates in the rest of the gifts, offices. The fewest of the bunch. And then God is the commander in chief. But yet it's flipped. There are more prophets than there are soldiers. And you're in his army. Soon that ends. I can't wait for it to end. I'm dying for it to end, and yet I know God's in charge. It's all backwards. Yeah, we got more prophets than there are evangelists. There should be a 10 to 1 ratio again on prophets. However many evangelists there are, you should have even fewer. How many apostles can you show me? I know one who runs around starting churches. There's so few of them, aren't there? Because you've reached the top of the pyramid. We're flipped. And I hate it. It grieves me, sickens me. And we're all listening to people who should shut up. Hey, deal with it. You're going to be told to shut up soon. You got people out there that are, God's told me to do this and God's told me to do this. We're ready to build all these different things. Sickens me too. I just mentioned the man. I'm not trying to pick on the man. God's telling him to build this cathedral studio. You know why? Because God's telling him to. Yet the man's only 250 miles from the seismic Madrid fault. According to John Paul, it's going to be called the Great Divide. Now, I don't know how great that divide is, but apparently it's going to be impassable. Can you figure this out? 250 miles away from the Great Divide. You're either going to wind up with riverfront property or you're going to go swimming with the fishes. But you think you're going to build this cathedral, this massive studio, because you're going to be broadcasting to who? Who? We're going to be sitting in front of our television sets because we got a grid going? And you're going to be broadcasting. Really, you're going to be, I don't know where. You're going to be living in a wasteland is where you're going to be living. I've tried to say these truths, folks. I've been saying them, and you can go through the channel and learn. We're listening to nonsense. And it grieves me. You want to build something temporary to where you can exodus the people out of the United States that remain, that are alive still. Do something like that. Nothing permanent. Don't miss the prophet I got coming on. He and John Paul Jackson are singing the same song, the same tune. It's not going to be order, this new world order. No, we got chaos coming. That's the opposite of order. Chaos and order don't mix. I had a long day. I'm sorry. but souls are going to be lost. No thanks to nonsense. And Jim, you have done what I believe you were supposed to have done. You've prepared people. I don't care the message that made them get prepared, because I don't buy half the things I hear anyway. But you got them prepared. Your job is done. You're not going to be hunkering down, building something permanent in the United States. It's probably going to go swimming anyway. Keep an eye on CochraneMinistries.com. You're going to want to see the prophet I got coming on. Look for more to come. Until next time, take care and God bless.